Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Miller Lite Q&A podcast. Chris Carter, NFL analyst, here with Dale Lolley, NFL beat writer. Dale, how you doing?
Great, Chris. How are you?
I am great. We are answering your questions. Let's get started. Steelers related. This one's from D-Bayer 93, who asks, are we to believe that the Steelers had a first-round grade and higher overall grade than Mason Rudolph for Terrell Edmunds, and that he was not a reach for them? I'm not saying he won't be a good player, but the logic just seems a bit off.
Let me just say this. The Steelers do not reach from their board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I don't care what rankings you saw from anyone else, including myself.
Including myself.
Yeah, including you. The Steelers had a first-round grade on Terrell Edmunds.
Yep.
Now, whether that's the correct grade or not, we'll find out in future years.
Right.
I'm not an NFL talent scout.
No.
I look at guys. I try to guess what they're going to be drafted.
You'd probably work in the NFL.
Yeah. Just like if I prognosticated better, I'd probably be living in Vegas.
Right.
It is what it is. I try to give you grades, and the guys out there who are giving grades, the Mel Kipers and those types, are giving you the grades they think these guys deserve. That doesn't mean at all what NFL teams feel about these guys. There are guys, I liked Rashad Penny,
Right.
Who was taken in the first round by the Seattle Seahawks.
And they traded, yeah.
Did I feel he was a first-round talent? No, I thought he was a guy who would be taken in that second to third round who would perform like a first-round talent. I thought he would be a solid NFL back. They obviously felt the same, and they took him in the first round.
Right.
And again, people need to understand, after those first 15 or so picks in the draft, everybody after that, from picks 15 or 16 through 65, have basically the same grade on them.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Potential NFL starter.
Yeah, that's the way it works. There are 15 guys in any draft, usually between 12 and 18. But I'm saying 15 just for brevity's sake, and I just talked my way through that. But there's those 12 guys that everybody knows are going to be studs. These are the 12 guys. These are first rounders. And then after that, they can go in any order.
Yeah.
So the fact that the Steelers took Terrell Edmunds in the first round is not a reach. The fact that and maybe the grades on him and Rudolph were close. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that they had a first-round grade on Terrell Edmunds.
And that's the thing. I did a whole don't get me started on people who think they're smarter than NFL scouts. And maybe you do more film tape than they do or I do.
I highly doubt that they do more than they do.
Than they do, right.
They've got guys who do this year-round.
And that's the thing. It's like these guys, not just the tape, but they go and they visit these players.
And talk to people about them and get the inside info. The Mel Kipers and those Mike Mayock. And I have a great deal of respect for what those guys do, but they don't go visit every campus and
you can't. You're
get
one person.
Get the background and get the insight from the coaches and talk to these kids one-on-one and see what their football knowledge is, what their views on life are. They take all that into account. I saw a thing. There was an argument. A guy started an argument on Twitter. Well, they could have taken other guys in the third round instead of Mason Rudolph that would have helped this year. Really?
Yeah.
And one of the guys that he mentioned was Arden Keys. Wasn't even on the Steelers draft board.
Because he's
a scumbag.
So yeah, he's been doing crazy stuff. I mean, people said physically talented, but it's the same question. The Browns took that one guy. Was it Anthony Callaway? They said that guy, he was a receiver. He's like Josh Gordon if Josh Gordon was even crazier than he already is.
And they said, he's this year's Hill.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill.
He's this year's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, give me that guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so enamored. But here's he missed the entire. This guy Callaway. He missed the entire season. He said he showed up to court today one day about a domestic dispute, and his excuse to the judge of why he couldn't have beaten his girlfriend was because he was too high at the time to do it. Give me
that guy.
Yeah, and those are the kind of players that people are talking about. Oh, they should have picked over the Mason Rudolph type of guy. And I'm just like, if there's a super athletic talent like Arden Key, like Callaway, leave them there.
Yeah.
The Steelers, people, you think it's a risk to just take guys that like marijuana, like Le'Veon Bell or Martavis Bryant. Imagine those guys with those type of problems.
Yeah, I mean they got a bunch of fallback feedback from. Selecting Chris Rainey a few years ago.
I forgot about Chris Rainey. Yeah,
what was he? What was he? A fifth-round draft pick?
Fifth-round draft
pick.
Yeah. And they wanted him to go for a third.
Yeah, don't take those guys.
Yeah. We'll be right back to finish off your questions here on the Miller Lite Q&A.
Miller Lite is the original light beer. And we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this cool new website, stepoutside.org. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, or hunting. Or take part in power sports, shooting sports, or water sports in your local community or across the country at stepoutside.org, where everything you need to know is just a click away. That's stepoutside.org.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Miller Lite Q&A podcast. Chris Carter, Dale Lolley here answering your questions. We are finishing up with our final question of the show. This one comes from VJL1014, who asks, if teams are going to deploy lighter, quicker safeties, can you see offenses evolve back to old-fashioned power running? If I'm in the Steelers division and I see they're using more DBs instead of LBs, I'll draft road grader linemen, big backs, and grind them into the ground. Dale, what is your response to that comment?
Good luck finding those guys because they're not in the college game right now. The reason the NFL is shifting is making that transition is because that's what's coming out of college football right now. I mean, you looked at the linebacker class this year. Many of the linebackers in this draft were guys who were 6'1", 6'2", and 210 pounds. Mm-hmm. They were playing defensive end for their college teams or outside linebacker. I mean, the game is getting lighter and faster at the college level. So, finding those quote-unquote road grader types is not easy to do. And just because the guy's a road grader doesn't mean he has any talent.
Right.
That's the problem. I mean, you still need to be athletic, and it's just not, for whatever reason, we're just not seeing those kind of guys come out of school right now. I mean, you saw Orlando Brown, for example, who was considered a first-round draft pick before his combine performance, which was probably the worst combine performance
of all time,
and he falls to the third round to the Ravens. He's a road grader type, yeah. But is he athletic enough to play in today's NFL? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, linemen have to get all over the field. They're not. I mean, you see it with the Steelers, how they use Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, Ramon Foster, even the tackles in Villanueva and Gilbert. They're flying up and down the field. They're asked to reach out and go get guys in space. And defensively, you're asking for outside linebackers. I mean, you see Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt. They're not your Joey Porters and Jason Gildens. These guys are made to be able to cover in space and to run and use their speed to move all about the field. It is becoming a different game. I do think that there will be a merit to teams that can run out of those formations and have those versatile type of players, and that's why it's going to be so rare to get them. But to run that single back formation with one tight end, 3 wide receivers, and be able to dominate a defense that comes out in one of those sub packages with those types of units, which is what I think the Steelers are very good at when they have Le'Veon Bell out there and their top offense on the field working defenses over.
Yeah, it's tough to do, and that's the key. If you're going to come out and try to run that big package with the fullback and 2 tight ends and everything like that, guess what? The other team's still going to have enough big bodies to get that.
And even
athleticism beats size a lot of times.
Often.
Yeah.
And even on top of that, and the thing is, the reason it does is because when I know you're running the ball, then I can just go in and go get you.
We saw it with the Steelers in the playoffs when on the 4th and 1 play where they have Vance McDonald trying to block Ramsey on the edge, and Ramsey just ran around him.
Yep.
Vance McDonald is 40 pounds heavier than Jalen Ramsey,
but Ramsey's he's more maneuverable. He's like, I can just easily get around you and take away this edge.
That's all it was.
And I mean, but that's how a lot of people. I mean, I think that's when reason Shaquem Griffin, the guy from Central Florida, was so successful is because he could just outquick you a lot of times. Even if you were twice his size and had both your hands, he was going to find a way to work around you. And so many NFL players, I think, are of that caliber. It's why Ryan Shazier was such a talent in the NFL when he was healthy, because he was able to fly and keep up with those guys. And Vince Williams, he's one of those road grader type of linebackers that will plug the run, rush, and beat the running back when they try to block him, but put him in coverage, and it's a little bit more of a liability. And that's where I think the NFL is going. That's why I don't think it's going to go. I don't think this change is going to go away. I think it'll strengthen, but I do think that people will start finding certain types of players at more value. You're going to see those left tackles that used to go really high in the first round, like Eric Fisher and those guys. I think they're going to have to be a little bit more athletic than they are right now, or than we are with the traditional left tackle as we've always understood, because they're not as mobile. So there you have it. That's the Miller Lite Q&A podcast. Thank you for your questions. Be sure to stay tuned to DKPittsburghSports.com and DK Sports Radio, where we have a lot of great content coming at you on the Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and all that other great Pittsburgh sports. But from Chris Carter and Dale Lolley, have a great week.